Hey, Mrparka here to review a new one from Arrow Blu-ray. This actually, I think the actual release was in just this month, a couple weeks ago or something around there, but I have a screener for the Island of Death Blu-ray from Arrow. This was released years back here in the States under an Image label, and it was released by Arrow in the UK on DVD, but finally we got a United States Blu-ray of the movie, and I was thrilled. I had seen this one a little far back, and I always remembered it. It was a very memorable film, and of course it landed on the Video Nasties list. It was a Greek film. It was the second film of this director, Nico Mastorakis. I'm going to mispronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try, okay? But if you guys are familiar with the film Island of Death, then you guys will probably be interested in this Blu-ray if you're a fan of the movie. I am a fan of the movie, and I had remembered a lot of the film, but when I put it in, I was pleasantly surprised again. I always enjoyed it. The soundtrack had always stuck out to me. And the story is essentially about hypocrisy and just desserts, and I love that kind of. I've been a big fan of Tales from the Crypt and the stories where people get what they deserve. I love the revenge elements of films and how people get what they have coming to them. What we have here is a couple that goes to this Greek island, and they begin to start killing people in horrible ways. They believe them to be sinners, so they'll attack people that are homosexual or lesbian or drug abusers and things like that, or promiscuous, word, can't say it right now. And so essentially the bodies start to pile up. With the director, there's a great documentary on here that's a 4-part documentary. You guys would be familiar with it if you guys had seen the old Image titles, the Omega Image titles that were released. The 4-part documentary appeared on there. I watched the whole thing, and it was brilliant. It made me really like the director and appreciate his honesty. And I learned quite a bit about his films and about himself and about filmmaking in general. Really informative and really honest, and I really appreciated that. And his last minutes of advice on it are really kind of heartwarming and inspirational. But as we get back to the film, he admits that it definitely was made for money, and he tried to cram in as many taboo subjects as he could, and the film is loaded with them. If you don't like the film, at the very least it is a very memorable film. There is a bestiality, and it's almost like all the victims are like targeted just to upset somebody, like I said. There's also very strange things in this film as well. A lot of them weren't like real actors, so some of them were, but so some of the times you see some really odd things going about the film. And like I said, the ending is I love the ending personally. The soundtrack in here is also, like I said, very bizarre. It's also shot in a beautiful location, and it's shot very well. A lot of this guy's films actually appeared in this island that this movie was shot in. And I will say that on the Video Nasty list, if you guys are familiar with it, most of the titles don't really deserve to be on the Video Nasty list. They were infamous for the wrong reasons, or they just had this infamy that they really didn't live up to it. Island of Death, I'd said in 1975-76, this is pretty harsh stuff. And the director went on to have a pretty long career working with a lot of action films and things like that. But yeah, this is one of my favorite films that I'm familiar with from him. I believe I've seen Nightmare at Noon, and I like this one a lot better than Nightmare at Noon. It's been a while since I've seen that one. But yeah, I'd really recommend Island of Death if you can get past some of the nasty stuff. I know it's not going to be for everybody, but it is disturbing, and you know, sometimes I'm not all into the movies just for disturbing sake, which is funny because the director actually said he made this movie just for disturbing sake and taboo breaking, but there's substance to it, and I think that the hypocrisy and the stuff like that in the ending really works in its favor. I do think it is kind of odd that there is a hint of foreshadowing in the film with the nightmare sequence. I felt that might be a little out of place, and it also what I want to say about the release itself, like I said, it comes with a 4-part documentary, which was much appreciated, especially if you don't have all the Image Omega titles on DVD. I don't. I have a couple. But that was cool to watch that. Very interesting. He narrates the thing. He's a witty, kind of clever, funny guy. And also there is a kind of almost like a review, kind of a analyst analyzing of the film by the guy who wrote the Nightmare USA, and essentially he says what a lot of the stuff that I just said a lot better. And he actually goes into the details of the old films. He's an expert on this director and things like that. I remember watching the film and thinking, I love the hypocrisy and I love the ending just deserves, and it's shot really well. I watched that and I was like, essentially he just says all that 10 times better than I can. So if you pick up this release, check out all the special features. It's loaded with them. It is in full screen, I believe. The movie was shot in full screen. I mean, you can't, I mean, you could crop it, but it probably wouldn't look too good. But the film looks solid for an old film, for an old low-budget horror film. It's in a good location. So if you're a fan of the movie, I know that Island of Death has a kind of like a cult status, but it's a cool film, and it's a bizarre film, and is different, and especially different from the films that were being made around that time. So I'd say check this release out. I think it's out right now. You can go to Amazon or wherever you want to buy it from, and pick it up. I'm Mr. Parka. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.